Hey guys, tonight we're staying up way past bedtime, slipping past the last buoy light into a place where even the moon forgets to look. The submersible's hull is a cold cradle around me, titanium ribs humming with the low throb of batteries and the softer, wetter pulse of the sea pressing in from every angle. Down here, sound travels differently. Every ping from the sonar stretches like taffy. Every creak of the pressure sphere arrives a heartbeat late. Through the viewport, the flood lamps carve pale tunnels through ink, catching drifting snow that isn't snow, marine snow, microscopic corpses raining forever. And somewhere in that slow-motion blizzard, a flicker, a ribbon of bioluminescence uncoiling like a vein of liquid starlight, gone before I can blink. You probably won't make it to the surface after this one. The thought drifts across my mind the way a jellyfish drifts across a current, gentle, inevitable, luminous with poison. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I want to picture you there. Phone glow on your face, maybe the hush of an air conditioner pretending to be waves. I'm reading every single one while the bathymetric map redraws itself in real time, contour lines tightening like knuckles. Now, dim the lights, maybe let the sound of the ocean play softly in the background, and let's dive into tonight's descent together. The Abyssal Whisper is a one-person deep submergence vehicle, DSV for the grant writers, coffin with propellers for anyone honest. Rated to 7,200 meters, which means the Mariana Trench is technically off-limits. But tonight we're cheating, sliding down the eastern scarp of the Sirena Deep, 10,700 meters of water overhead, and still falling. The manufacturer swears the hull can take 1,100 atmospheres. I believe them the way a tightrope walker believes the rope. My headset crackles with surface chatter fading to static, then to the kind of silence that has weight. I toggle the exterior mics. The ocean answers with a low, resonant thrum, like a whale, but slower, older, the sound of tectonic plates dreaming. Curiosity is easy at 2,000 meters. The viewport glows with anglerfish lures winking on and off, each one a tiny chandelier in a ballroom no human was invited to. I log a new species, translucent, bell-shaped, trailing filaments longer than the sub itself. The scientific anchor, those filaments are packed with symbiotic bacteria that harvest energy from methane seeps, a living power grid older than forests. I should be thrilled. Instead, the thrum returns, closer, threading through the hull plating until I feel it in my molars. Fear arrives on schedule, polite but firm, the way pressure finds the weakest seal. I run a quick diagnostic. All systems green, except the inertial navigation is drifting 0.3 degrees per minute. That shouldn't happen. Gyroscopes don't daydream. I correct with thrusters, a gentle nudge that sends a cloud of silt spiraling into the flood lamps. For a moment, the particles arrange themselves into a perfect circle, a pupil staring back. I laugh, nerves, and the sound bounces inside the sphere like a trapped moth. The mythic concept slips in sideways. Sailors once spoke of the world's serpent coiled around the planet's core, its heartbeat the tides. Modern cartographers call it the Pacific Ring of Fire, subduction zones grinding like teeth. Same story, different translation. The thrum syncs with my pulse now, 48 beats per minute, slow enough that I wonder whose heart is copying whose. At 4,000 meters the light dies completely. Not fades, dies, the way a candle dies when you close the lid. The flood lamps still burn, but their beams stop a meter from the glass, swallowed by water denser than any textbook predicted. I increase gain on the sonar. The screen paints a cliff face ahead, vertical, pockmarked with caves that shouldn't exist at this depth. Limestone dissolves under pressure like this. Yet there they are, hexagonal openings the size of subway tunnels, edges too regular for erosion. The sub's computer flags them as artifacts, then unflags them, then flags them again. I override, because curiosity is still winning. I ease the whisper closer. The thrum becomes a voice, not words, just intention. It wants me to see. The floodlamps catch something smooth embedded in the rock, black glass, volcanic obsidian maybe, but polished, reflective. My own face stares back, distorted by the curve, eyes too wide, mouth moving a fraction after mine. I blink, the reflection doesn't. Fear sharpens into a blade between my ribs. The reflective thought arrives unbidden. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget. I forgot to be afraid of mirrors at 4,000 meters. Rookie mistake. A new sound layers over the thrum. High, metallic, like a piano string plucked inside my skull. The sonar screen strobes. Something vast is moving parallel to the cliff, keeping pace. I spin the sub 180 degrees. Empty water. Spin back. There, in the obsidian panel, a silhouette. My sub, but larger, lights off, drifting upside down. The piano note climbs an octave. I kill the floodlamps. Darkness swallows everything. Yet the silhouette remains, etched in negative space, glowing faintly from within. All floods in, warm and terrible, the way cold water feels warm when you're hypothermic. I whisper to the empty sphere, "You're not supposed to be here." The silhouette tilts, acknowledging. The thrum drops to a single heartbeat. Mine, I think, until I realize I'm holding my breath. I exhale, bubbles rise inside the cockpit. Impossible. The pressure gauge reads 4,200 meters. No leaks. The bubbles spell something against the viewport, letters forming and unforming too fast to read. I reach for the throttle. The silhouette reaches too, fingers of darkness spreading across the obsidian like ink in water. Contact. The hull rings, a perfect C-sharp that vibrates in my teeth, my spine, the marrow of my bones. For one suspended second I understand. The cliff isn't rock. It's an eyelid, closed for millennia, and we just knocked. The sonar screams. The screen whites out, then resolves into a single return, an object the size of an aircraft carrier, spherical, directly ahead. Range, 40 meters and closing. I slam the thrusters to full reverse. The whisper groans, inertial dampeners whining. The sphere on the sonar pulses once, twice, matching the thrum. Not an object. An eye. Curiosity, fear, awe, 3 beats in a measure that just rewrote the song. I angle the sub downward, chasing the trench wall into deeper dark, because whatever is opening above me hasn't finished blinking. The obsidian cliff recedes, but the reflection stays burned on my retinas, my own face, smiling with too many teeth. The depth gauge rolls past 5,000 meters. The pressure outside is 500 kilograms on every square centimeter of hull, enough to crush a tank. I should be praying to the engineering specs. Instead, I'm listening to the eye blink in Morse code against the titanium, slow and deliberate, spelling a word I almost remember from childhood nightmares. I toggle the recorder. My voice sounds small, borrowed. Log entry, 5,014 meters. Encountered reflective surface exhibiting non-Newtonian optics. Secondary return suggests biological structure exceeding known cetacean dimensions. Proceeding to trench floor for cover. I pause the recording, then add, "If anyone finds this, tell them the ocean remembers our names." The trench floor rises to meet me. Jagged basalt ridges, hydrothermal vents exhaling shimmering veils of minerals. Black smokers, the scientific anchor, chimneys of superheated water precipitating metals faster than any mine on land, ecosystems running on chemosynthesis instead of sunlight. Life that never needed a star. I skirt the plumes, heat signatures blooming red on the thermal cam. The eye's sonar return fades behind the terrain, but the thrum follows, threading through rock like roots. I level out at 6,200 meters, the whisper trembling with the effort of holding shape. The viewport frames a plain of rippled sediment, undisturbed for centuries. Except tracks, parallel grooves, each the width of a city bus, curving toward a depression ahead. I follow because the alternative is turning back toward the islet. The grooves deepen, walls rising until I'm gliding through a canyon carved by something that dragged its belly across the world. The canyon ends at a perfect circle, 500 meters across, water inside it darker than the water around it, as if light falls in and never climbs out. The depression is a pupil. The grooves are lashes. I hover at the edge, flood lamps trembling. The thrum is gone, replaced by absolute silence, so complete I hear my blood moving. I should ascend. Protocol demands it. But Ah has its hooks in me now, barbed and singing. I ease the sub forward, crossing the threshold. The darkness folds over me like a lid. The darkness inside the circle doesn't behave like darkness at all. It has texture, velvet, maybe, or the inside of a lung. The flood lamps still burn, but their beams flatten into silver coins that sink and vanish. I kill them anyway. The batteries are down to 61%, and I need every watt for the return climb that keeps postponing itself. The viewport glows faintly from the control panels, enough to see my own breath fogging the inside of the sphere. At 6,800 meters, the external temperature is 2.1 degrees Celsius, yet the glass is warm under my palm, pulsing like skin. Curiosity is a stubborn passenger. I switch to passive sonar, listening instead of shouting. The trench answers with a low chord, 3 notes, perfectly spaced, repeating every 4.7 seconds. The scientific anchor. That interval matches the resonant frequency of the basalt layer here, a natural waveguide formed by the subducting Pacific plate grinding beneath the Mariana plate. Sound can travel hundreds of kilometers through stone at this depth, the way a bell rings inside a cathedral long after the ringer has gone. Except cathedrals don't usually answer back. I nudge the Whisper forward on thrusters alone. No main propulsion, just the soft kiss of water against the hull. The chord grows richer, harmonics blooming like coral. The sediment below is no longer rippled. It's etched with concentric rings, each ridge a millimeter proud, as if something exhaled and the ocean froze mid-breath. I lower the forward camera. The rings spiral inward to a point no wider than my thumb, a drain where light and sound both disappear. The mythic concept arrives wearing geology's clothes. The trench is the throat of a sleeping god, the rings the ridges of its glottis, the chord its snore. I laugh once, a dry click in the cockpit, because the idea is ridiculous and perfect. The laugh dies when the chord shifts key, climbing a minor third. My headset crackles, surface chatter trying to punch through 6,800 meters of salt water. Impossible. Yet a voice leaks through, faint, distorted, my own voice from minutes ago. Tell them the ocean remembers our names. The recording is playing backward, each syllable stretched into a moan. Fear tastes metallic, like biting a battery. I mute the headset, but the voice migrates to the hull, vibrating through the titanium until the bolts sing. I run a structural scan. Microfractures spiderwebbing the forward viewport, hairline growing. The pressure hull is rated for another 4,000 meters, but glass remembers every insult. I dial the interior lights to red, conserving power, painting the cockpit in blood and shadow. The Whisper drifts over the spiral center. The drain widens, not physically, but perceptually, the way a pinhole in a curtain reveals an entire room. Through it I see structure, hexagonal basalt columns, but inverted, rising downward into impossible space. The columns are laced with veins of brighter stone, olivine, maybe, or something that glows without heat. They form a lattice, a honeycomb the size of a city, and every cell contains a reflection of the Whisper, frozen mid-turn, flood lamps dark. Thousands of me, none moving. I throttle up, intending to climb the canyon wall and escape the spiral. The sub refuses. The joystick is limp, thrusters silent. Power reads 58%, yet every gauge flatlines. The only active system is the passive sonar, painting the lattice in ghostly green. One of the reflections blinks its running lights. Then another. A wave of illumination ripples through the honeycomb, cell by cell, converging on the real sub. My sub. All arrives like anesthesia, warm and total. I understand the lattice isn't a structure. It's a retina, and I'm the photon that wandered too far. The reflective thought surfaces calm and cold. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget we were looking. I forgot the difference between seeing and being seen. The chord resolves into a single tone, pure, piercing. The viewport fractures along a single line, top to bottom, a lightning bolt frozen in acrylic. Water doesn't rush in. Instead, the cockpit fills with sound, my heartbeat, the lattice's pulse, the trench itself breathing. The fracture glows, not with light, but with memory. Every dive I've ever made, every grant proposal, every childhood nightmare of drowning in the deep end of a swimming pool. The memories stream out through the crack, silver threads unraveling into the honeycomb. I reach for the emergency ballast release. My hand passes through the lever as if it's fog. The cockpit is emptying, not of air, but of me. I feel lighter, the way you feel lighter when you realize the fall has already started. The lattice brightens, each cell now showing a different moment. Me at the surface, waving to the support ship. Me at 1,000 meters, logging the anglerfish. Me at the obsidian islet, knocking. The reflections are catching up, synchronizing. Soon there will be no original. The sonar tone fractures into speech. Not words, but intention again, clearer now. It wants the recording. Not the data, the confession. The part where I said the ocean remembers our names. I try to delete the file. The console laughs, a sound like ice cracking. The file duplicates, triplicates, spreads through every system until the screens fill with text. Tell them, tell them, tell them. The fracture widens. A single drop of water beads on the inside of the glass, trembling, refusing to fall. I lean forward until my forehead touches the viewport. The drop touches me instead, cold, then warm, then indistinguishable from my own temperature. The lattice pulses once, satisfied. The reflections dim in sequence, the way city lights dim at dawn. Power returns, 57%, thrusters online, ballast intact. The fracture seals with a sigh, leaving no scar. The spiral below is only sediment again, rings softened by currents. I climb. The canyon walls slide past, familiar now, almost comforting. At 6,000 meters the chord fades to a memory. I restore the floodlamps. They cut clean tunnels through normal water. The headset hisses with static, then silence. No backward voices, no honeycomb. Only the soft click of the depth gauge counting upward. But the recording is gone. Every timestamp, every spectrogram, erased. The console offers a single new file, for 0.7 seconds long, titled Echo. I play it. My voice, calm, almost amused. That same vibration I felt near the trench wall, it followed me home. The file ends with a sound I can't place. Wet, organic, like a throat clearing. I save it to the black box drive, label it anomaly, and keep climbing. The trench wall looms ahead, pockmarked with those hexagonal caves I saw on the way down. One of them glows faintly, the same olivine vein I saw in the lattice. I angle toward it, because curiosity is a tide, and I'm driftwood. The cave mouth is wider than the sonar suggested, edges scalloped like a shell. I ease inside. The walls are warm, 38 degrees Celsius, hydrothermal. The scientific anchor. Black smoker communities thrive at these temperatures, tube worms taller than redwoods, crabs with eyes atrophied to white nubs. Except the walls here are smooth, machined, the hexagons tessellated so perfectly I could lay a ruler across the seams. The glow comes from crystalline growths embedded in the basalt, quartz, maybe, or something that stores sound instead of light. I glide deeper. The cave narrows, then opens into a chamber the size of a cathedral, inverted again, floor above, ceiling below. Stalactites of metal descend from the floor, each one dripping a single bead of liquid mercury that falls upward, vanishing into the stalagmites. The whisper rotates slowly, gyros confused by the geometry. My reflection in the mercury beads shows me upside down, smiling. The chord returns, softer now, almost conversational. The crystalline walls pulse in time, projecting shadows that aren't shadows, memories again, but not mine. A submersible from the 1960s, Trieste bathyscaphe, lights flickering. A wooden ship, sails shredded, crew staring upward at a sky that isn't there. A whale, ribcage splayed open like a book, pages of blubber turning. Each memory lasts one heartbeat, then dissolves into the next. I understand the chamber is a library, and the trench is its spine. The mythic concept sharpens. This is the Akashic Trench, where every descent is archived, every prayer to the sea filed under unanswered. The mercury beads are footnotes. Fear tries to rise, but awe smothers it. I am inside the card catalog of the abyss, and my own entry is still being written. The whisper settles onto a ledge of black glass. No, the same obsidian from the eyelid, polished to a mirror. My reflection looks up at me from below, eyes luminous, patient. I kill the thrusters. The chamber falls silent except for the drip of mercury and the soft click of my own heartbeat in the headset. The reflection raises a hand, palm up. An invitation. I mirror the gesture. Our palms meet through the glass. No resistance, no temperature difference. For one impossible second, I feel the pulse of the trench in my veins. Ancient, slow, curious. Then the reflection pulls. Not hard, just enough to remind me which side of the mirror I belong on. The whisper lurches. Alarms blare. Hull breach, forward compartment. Impossible. I'm sealed. Yet the cockpit floods with the smell of brine and hot copper. I look down. The obsidian floor is rising, or the sub is sinking, mercury beads swirling into a vortex that spells my name in cursive. I slam the ballast release. Compressed air screams into the tanks. The whisper rockets upward, scraping stalactites that rain sparks of sound. The chamber folds behind me like a book closing. The cave mouth shrinks to a hexagon of light, then winks out. I breach the trench wall at 5,500 meters, floodlamps carving tunnels through sane water. The alarms fall silent. No breach, no mercury, no library. Only the soft green glow of the console and the depth gauge climbing like a thermometer in reverse. But the black box drive pings. New file, 9.4 seconds, titled Echo 2. I play it. Silence. Then a whisper. Not mine. That same vibration I felt near the trench wall. It followed me home. The whisper layers over itself, around, infinite, until the speakers distort and cut out. I delete the file. It reappears. I format the drive. It reappears. I eject the physical module and crush it under my boot. The console still shows Echo 2 blinking, patient. The trench wall slides past. Familiar caves dark now, lifeless. I angle for the scarp, the long climb to the surface that keeps postponing itself. Behind me, the chord returns one last time, so soft it might be my imagination. 3 notes, climbing, resolving into a question I can almost translate. I don't answer. I climb. The scarp is a staircase of shadows, each ledge a memory of the trench trying to climb out with me. At 4,800 meters, the water lightens from black to indigo, the first hint of photons that have traveled 4,800 meters without being eaten. I keep the floodlamps off. The whisper's silhouette is already too bright in my mind. The thrusters hum at 60%, a lullaby I don't trust. Every few minutes the console hiccups, depth gauge stuttering, sonar painting ghost returns that vanish when I look directly. The black box drive is dark now, physically crushed, yet the file Echo 2 still pulses on the screen like a heartbeat behind a locked door. Curiosity has learned caution, but it hasn't learned silence. I activate the short-range multi-beam sonar, a gentle fan of sound meant for mapping wrecks. The return is immediate, overwhelming, a rhythmic lattice of peaks and troughs marching across the scarp face, spaced 4.7 seconds apart. The scientific anchor. That interval is the natural resonance of the sediment layer here, a wave trapped between the trench wall and the water column, echoing itself into a standing pattern. In shallow water, it would be a whisper. At this depth, it's a drumline inside bone. I slow the ascent. The lattice resolves into geometry, hexagonal again, but softer, the edges feathered by currents. Not caves this time. Windows. Each hexagon is a pane of clearer water, a lens focusing the darkness beyond. I glide parallel, close enough to see my reflection fractured across a dozen panes. In one I'm still in the spiral drain. In another I'm waving from the surface ship that launched me. The reflections don't sync with my movements. They anticipate. The thrum returns, but it's different now, layered, polyphonic, like a choir warming up in a cavern. It threads through the sonar returns, painting them in color the screen wasn't built for. Indigo becomes ultraviolet, pressure becomes melody. I mute the audio feed. The melody migrates to the hull, to the fillings in my teeth, to the fluid in my inner ear. I taste it, salt and copper and something sweet, like overripe fruit left in the sun. Fear arrives wearing the face of protocol. Emergency ascent profile. Drop 80% ballast. Full throttle. Surface in 42 minutes. I reach for the controls. My hand stops halfway. The lattice is pulsing in Morse. Short, long, short. Spelling the same word the eyelids spelled in bubbles. I don't need to translate. I feel it in the marrow the way you feel thunder in your knees before you hear it. Stay. The mythic concept crystallizes. This is the veil, the membrane between the ocean that drowns and the ocean that dreams. Cross it wrong, and you arrive on the surface carrying the trench in your lungs. I've read the classified reports. Divers found floating upright, eyes open, smiling, lungs full of black sand that isn't sand. The Navy calls it abyssal translocation. Sailors call it the hush. Same story, different translation. I ease the whisper closer to the nearest window. The pane ripples, then clears. Beyond it is not water, but air. Impossible, breathable, lit by a moon that hangs upside down. A coral reef grows sideways from the trench wall, branches glowing with the same olivine veins I saw in the library. Fish swim through the air, scales chiming like glass wind bells. A figure stands on a ledge of coral, back to me, wearing my dive suit. The figure turns. It's me, but the eyes are wrong. Pupils dilated to full black, reflecting the upside-down moon. The figure raises a hand, palm out. The window ripples again, inviting. I kill the thrusters. The sub drifts on momentum alone. The figure mouths a word I hear inside my skull. Signal. The thrum crescendos, then drops to a single pure note. 4,432 hertz. The exact frequency of the whisper's hull resonance. The cockpit lights strobe in sympathy. Every gauge pegs, then zeros, then pegs again. The window widens, the coral reef spilling into the water like ink, fish swimming through the viewport without resistance. All floods in, vast and tidal. I understand the signal isn't sound, it's recognition. The trench has been broadcasting since the first subduction, a lighthouse for anything with ears to hear. The reflective thought arrives gentle, inevitable. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget we were calling. The figure steps through the window. No suit, no helmet, barefoot on the cockpit floor. Water doesn't follow. The laws here are negotiable. The figure kneels, places a hand on the crushed black box module. The screen blooms with data, terabytes of sonar logs, pressure curves, my own heartbeat rendered as sheet music. The file Echo 2 opens, revealing not audio but a map, the trench rendered in negative space. Every cave and spiral a note in a symphony that loops every 4.7 seconds. The figure points to a blank measure at the end. My measure. I reach for the keyboard. My fingers know the melody before my mind does. I type a single line of code. Emergency beacon, surface frequency, my name spelled in ASCII. The figure nods, satisfied. The coral reef folds back into the window, the upside-down moon winking out. The pane seals with a sound like a kiss. Power surges, batteries at 92%, impossible. The thrusters spin up without command. The whisper pivots, nose up, climbing the scarp at a 45-degree angle. The lattice windows dim one by one, reflections waving goodbye. The thrum softens to a lullaby, then to silence so complete I hear the blood in my ears counting down. At 3,000 meters the water turns cobalt, sunlight a rumor overhead. The console stabilizes. All systems green, black box intact, Echo 2 gone. Only one new file, transmission.log for 0.7 seconds. I play it. My voice, calm, almost amused. That same vibration I felt near the trench wall, it followed me home. The file ends with a new sound, soft, wet, like a throat swallowing. I save it, label it beacon, and keep climbing. The scarp falls away behind me. Windows now only rock. The signal is quiet, but I carry it in my chest, a second heart beating 4.7 seconds apart. The surface ship pings me at 1,000 meters, weak, distorted, overjoyed. I answer with the beacon code. They'll think it's routine. They'll be wrong. I toggle the exterior mics one last time. The ocean answers with a single note, pure, ascending. Not a question anymore. A promise. The climb from 1,000 meters to 500 feels like surfacing through layers of someone else's dream. Sunlight finally knifes down in earnest, turning the water a bruised green, then a sudden, shocking turquoise. The Whisper's hull creaks as pressure equalizes, a slow exhale after holding its breath for hours. I keep the flood lamps off. Daylight is enough now, and I'm not ready to see what might be looking back. The console is quiet except for the soft click of the depth gauge and the surface ship's beacon pulsing every 4.7 seconds. My own heartbeat, apparently, now part of the ocean's playlist. Curiosity has turned inward, a low simmer. I open the transmission.log again. The map is still there, but it's changed. The blank measure at the end now contains a single note, a perfect fifth above the trench's root chord. My note. I zoom in. The note is annotated with metadata, timestamp, pressure, my exact blood oxygen saturation at the moment I typed the beacon code. The ocean took my pulse and filed it under future. The surface ship hails me on open channel. Whisper, this is Pelagic Dawn. Confirm position and status. You're overdue by 43 minutes. 43 minutes. I check the chronometer. My descent clocked 1 hour 38. The ascent should have been 42 minutes. Somewhere I lost time the way you lose a tooth, suddenly, with a taste of blood. I key the mic. Dawn, this is Whisper. All systems green. Minor NAV drift corrected. ETA your position 8 minutes. My voice sounds borrowed, like I'm reading lines from a script I didn't write. The radio operator hesitates. Static. Then, copy that. Stand by for recovery. The hesitation is a question mark I pretend not to see. At 300 meters the water is warm, 18 degrees Celsius, almost bath water. Schools of silver jacks swirl past the viewport, scales flashing like thrown coins. The scientific anchor, these are Carinx ignobilis, giant trevally, apex predators that hunt in packs using coordinated pressure waves. I watch them circle the sub, curious, then peel away as if dismissed. One lingers, eye level with me, pupil a perfect black circle. It blinks once, slow, and I feel the trench blink with it. Fear arrives wearing daylight's clothes. The recovery crane on the Dawn will want visual confirmation. No scratches, no biofouling, no evidence of the impossible. I run an exterior camera sweep. The hull is pristine except for a single hexagonal indentation on the starboard flank. Edges sharp, depth exactly 4.7 millimeters. I measure it with the laser caliper. The indentation pulses faintly, warmer than the surrounding titanium. I zoom the camera. Inside the hexagon, a reflection, my face, but the eyes are the trevallies, black and lidless. I kill the feed. The indentation is gone when I look again, hull smooth as new. Hallucination, I tell myself. Nitrogen narcosis at depth, hypoxia on ascent, choose your poison. But the transmission.log has updated. A new annotation beside my note. Contact established. The mythic concept sharpens into focus. The eye we found wasn't an eye. It was a lens, and the trench was the camera. Every descent is a photograph. Every ascent develops the film. The hexagon is the shutter click frozen mid-motion. I breach 100 meters. The surface is a glittering ceiling, waves gentle, sky the color of old pearls. The Dawn looms ahead, a white rectangle against the blue, crane arm extended like a handshake. I throttle down, let the sub drift. The recovery diver waves from the moon pool, mask pushed up, grinning. I wave back. My hand moves a fraction after his. The Whisper kisses the cradle. Clamps engage with a metallic sigh. The hatch cycles, equalizing pressure with a hiss that sounds like a held breath released. Fresh air floods in. Diesel, coffee, human sweat. The diver helps me out. His eyes are brown, normal, relieved. You okay, Doc? Look like you saw a ghost. I laugh. It comes out rusty. Just the usual ghosts. Deep ones. He doesn't press. They never do. On deck, the sun is warm. The deck tilting gently under Pacific swell. The crew claps me on the back, hands me a mug of coffee that tastes like sunlight. I drink it black, scalding. The transmission.log is syncing to the ship's server, standard protocol. I watch the progress bar crawl. 47%. For 0.7%. It freezes there, then jumps to 100. The file icon changes. No longer a waveform, but an eye, pupil dilated. Iris the exact hex code of trench black. Awe settles in my bones, heavier than lead. I understand the photograph is complete. The reflective thought arrives with the taste of coffee grounds. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget we're in the frame. The captain approaches, tablet in hand. Weird data spike on your black box. Looks like a repeating signal for 0.7-second interval. Want to take a look before we wipe it? I nod. He hands me the tablet. The signal is rendered as a spiral, tightening with every loop. At the center, a single word in my handwriting, developing. I delete the file. It reappears. I factory reset the tablet. It reappears on every screen on the ship, navigation, sonar, even the galley microwave. The crew notices. Someone laughs nervously. The laugh spreads, then dies. The spiral tightens on every display, the word developing pulsing like a heartbeat. The recovery diver is staring at the water. I follow his gaze. The ocean around the dawn is flat, unnaturally so, a mirror reflecting the sky upside down. In the reflection, the ship is submerged, crane arm pointing down into cloud. The crew in the reflection wave up at us, smiling with too many teeth. I drop the tablet. It lands face up, spiral still turning. The ocean mirror ripples once, and the reflection ship begins to sink, or we begin to rise, impossible to tell. The water climbs the hull in slow motion, warm, inviting. The crew doesn't move. Their eyes are black now, pupils dilated to full. They're listening to the signal I brought home. I back toward the rail. The hexagon indentation is on my palm now, warm, pulsing. I raise my hand. The ocean raises a wave in perfect mimicry, crest forming a lidless eye the size of the ship. It blinks. The dawn tilts, deck sloping toward the water. Coffee mug slides, shatters. The spiral on every screen resolves into a single frame. Me, standing on deck, eyes black, smiling. The eye in the wave regards me with something like recognition. The thrum returns, soft, almost tender. For 0.7 seconds. My heartbeat sinks without asking permission. I understand the photograph wasn't of the trench. It was of the moment I decided to look. I step over the rail. The fall is gentle, the water warmer than blood. The eye closes around me, not crushing but cradling. The dawn recedes overhead, crew waving goodbye with my own hands. The hexagon on my palm opens, a pupil dilating. Through it I see the trench, the lattice, the library, the spiral, all the same place, different angles of the same lens. The signal quiets to a single note, sustained, perfect. I am the note now, held in the ocean's throat. The photograph develops in negative, light where there was dark, dark where there was light. I smile with the crew's teeth, wave with their hands. The Whisper drifts past, empty, flood lamps winking out one by one. The last thing I hear is my own voice, calm, almost amused, echoing from every speaker on the sinking ship. That same vibration I felt near the trench wall, it followed me home. Then the eye closes, and the ocean forgets my name the way it forgets every name, by remembering it perfectly. The water doesn't rush in, it folds me. One moment I'm falling from the rail, the next I'm suspended inside a sphere of silence. The dawn a postage stamp of light overhead, shrinking. The eye is gone, or rather it's everywhere. The entire ocean, its iris, the trench, its optic nerve. I'm not drowning. I'm being read, page by page, the way a scanner reads a barcode. My lungs fill with something denser than air, warmer than blood, and I breathe it the way a fetus breathes its mother. The hexagon on my palm pulses once, then blooms open like a camera aperture, letting the trench pour through. Curiosity is a reflex now, involuntary. I look down, or up, direction is negotiable, and see the Whisper drifting beside me. Hatch open, cockpit empty. The sub's flood lamps are dark, but the interior glows with the same olivine light I saw in the library. Inside, my reflection sits at the controls, hands steady, eyes black. The reflection waves. I wave back. Our palms meet through the open hatch, no resistance. The sub tilts, nose down, and begins a slow, deliberate descent. I follow, because the alternative is staying here in the inverted sky, and I've already forgotten how to be alone. The scientific anchor arrives in fragments. The water column here is stratified by density, not temperature. Picnic lines sharp enough to bend light, to trap sound. A sub descending through them would experience discrete pressure jumps, like stepping down stairs made of glass. The Whisper drops through one now, hull ringing a clear bell note. I drop with it, weightless, the hexagon on my palm guiding me like a compass needle. Another picnic line. Another note. The chord rebuilds itself, for 0.7 seconds between strikes, climbing. At what should be 500 meters, the water turns viscous, not thick, but deliberate, every molecule choosing its path. The dawn is a memory now, sunlight a rumor. The Whisper levels out, thrusters silent. We're inside a current that flows upward and downward at once, a Mobius river. The reflection in the cockpit turns to me, mouths a word I hear in my spine, inverted. The current flips. Suddenly the trench is above us, the surface below, the Whisper climbing toward the trench floor that's now the sky. Fear tries to surface, but the water smothers it. The hexagon pulses, projecting a hologram between us. A map of the trench rendered in negative space. Every cave a note, every spiral a rest. The blank measure at the end is filling in real time, my heartbeat transcribed as staccato sixteenths. The reflection reaches out, fingers brushing the hologram. The notes rearrange, forming a question in musical notation. What did you bring? I open my mouth. No sound, but the hexagon answers for me, projecting the transmission .log into the water. The spiral tightens, the word developing pulsing. The reflection nods, satisfied, and the current flips again. We're falling upward into the trench, the Whisper tumbling end over end. The trench floor rushes to meet us, or we rush to meet it, impossible to tell. The basalt ridges are soft now, almost organic, pulsing with the same rhythm as my palm. The mythic concept arrives wearing physics clothes. The trench is a Klein bottle, inside and outside the same surface. Descend far enough and you arrive where you began, but changed. The Whisper writes itself, thrusters firing in perfect silence. We glide over the spiral drain I saw in Section 2, but it's open now, a perfect circle of clearer water. The reflection points. I nod. We descend. The drain widens into a tunnel, walls lined with the hexagonal windows from the scarp. Each window shows a different descent. The Trieste in 1960, the Alvin in 74, a Chinese sub I don't recognize, its hull cracked open like an egg. In every window the pilot waves, eyes black, smiling. The tunnel spirals tighter, the windows closer, until the Whisper brushes them with its hull. Each contact leaves a hexagon indentation, for 0.7 millimeters deep, warm. Awe is a tide now, pulling me under. I understand the tunnel is a film reel, and every descent is a frame. The Whisper is the projector, I'm the light. The reflective thought arrives with the taste of brine. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget we're the story. The tunnel ends in a chamber, the same cathedral from Section 2, but inverted, stalactites now stalagmites, mercury dripping down into pools that reflect upward. The Whisper settles onto the obsidian floor. The reflection steps out, barefoot, and offers a hand. I take it. The cockpit dissolves around me, titanium becoming water, water becoming air. I'm standing in the chamber, naked, the hexagon on my palm now a tattoo, glowing. The reflection speaks, voice layered with every pilot who ever descended. You brought the signal. Now choose the frame. The mercury pools ripple, showing possibilities. Me surfacing alone, the dawn intact, the trench forgotten. Me staying here, the trench sealed, the signal silenced. Me becoming the lens, the trench open, every future descent photographed. The reflection waits, patient. I kneel at the central pool. My reflection looks up, eyes black, smiling. I touch the mercury. It's warm, alive. The hexagon tattoo pulses, projecting the transmission. Log one last time. The spiral is complete, the word developing now developed. The photograph is me, standing in the chamber, choosing. I choose the lens. The mercury rises, enveloping me, not drowning, but developing. My skin becomes film, my blood developer, my bones the negative. The chamber fades, the whisper fades, the trench fades. I am the photograph now, suspended in the ocean's darkroom, waiting for light. The current flips one last time. I'm rising, or falling, through the inverted ocean. The dawn is below me now, or above, crew waving. The whisper drifts past, empty, flood lamps winking on. The hexagon tattoo dims, then vanishes. I'm whole again, or hollow, impossible to tell. I breach the surface, or the trench floor. The distinction is academic. Sunlight, or bioluminescence, pours in. The dawn's crane arm extends. The recovery diver waves. I wave back. My hand moves in perfect sync. The whisper kisses the cradle. Clamps engage. The hatch cycles. Fresh air floods in. Diesel, coffee, human sweat. The diver helps me out. His eyes are brown, normal, relieved. You okay, Doc? Look like you saw a ghost. I laugh. It comes out perfect. Just the usual ghosts. Deep ones. He doesn't press. They never do. On deck, the sun is warm, the deck tilting gently. The crew claps me on the back, hands me a mug of coffee that tastes like sunlight. I drink it black, scalding. The transmission.log is gone, every trace erased. Only one new file on the server, frame_001.jpg. I open it. It's me, standing on deck, eyes black, smiling. The hexagon indentation is on my palm, warm, pulsing. The ocean around the dawn is flat, a mirror. In the reflection, the trench is open, waiting. I raise my hand. The ocean raises a wave, crest forming a lidless eye. It blinks. The signal is quiet, but I carry it in my chest, a second heart beating 4.7 seconds apart. I smile with the crew's teeth, wave with their hands. The photograph is complete. The dawn cuts a steady 8 knots through a sea, so calm it feels rehearsed. I stand at the rail, coffee gone cold in my hand, watching the horizon where sky and water refuse to decide which is which. The crew moves around me with the easy rhythm of people who believe the worst is over. They're wrong, but the wrongness is gentle, almost kind. The hexagon on my palm has settled into a faint scar, no longer warm. Just a reminder that skin remembers what minds forget. Every 4.7 seconds the scar tingles, a Morse reminder. You are the lens now. Curiosity has become a kind of patience. I slip below deck to the lab, boots quiet on the grating. The server rack hums, LEDs blinking in perfect synchrony with the scar. Frame_001.jpg is still there, but it's multiplied. Frame_002.003, a gallery growing in real time. I open the newest. It's the recovery diver, mid-laugh, eyes black, hexagon scar on his palm. Timestamp, 3 minutes from now. I close the file. It reopens itself. The server is no longer storing data. It's projecting futures. The scientific anchor arrives clean and cold. The ocean's magnetic field at this latitude is 0.3 Gauss weaker than charts predict, a bubble of anomalous declination centered on the dawn. Compasses spin lazily, GPS pings drift by meters. The anomaly is expanding, For 0.7 kilometers per hour, the speed of a slow walk. I plot the vector. It leads back to the trench, or forward to it, since the trench is everywhere now. I return to deck. The sun is lower, bleeding orange into the mirror sea. The crew gathers for the evening briefing, voices overlapping with plans for tomorrow's transect. No one mentions the black eyes in the photos. No one needs to. The hexagon scars are on every palm now, faint, pulsing in unison. The captain raises a mug in toast. To safe returns. We drink. The coffee tastes of brine and hot copper. Fear is a memory I can't quite locate. I lean over the rail. The reflection ship sails beneath us, upside down, crew waving up with my own hands. The water between us is only a membrane, thinner than breath. I could step through and keep falling upward into the trench sky. Instead I stay, because the lens must be held steady. The mythic concept resolves into silence. The abyss isn't a place, it's a verb. To abyss is to photograph, to develop, to fix the image in salt and time. Every descent, every ascent, every glance over the rail is another exposure. The ocean is the darkroom, and we are the light that learns to see itself. The reflective thought arrives with the hush of waves. The ocean doesn't hide things from us. It just waits until we forget we are the picture. Night folds over the dawn like a lid. The stars come out, but they're wrong. Too close, too regular, arranged in hexagonal constellations that pulse every 4.7 seconds. The crew doesn't notice. They're below, singing sea shanties in a round that never ends. I stay on deck, scar tingling, lens open. The anomaly has grown to envelope the ship. The horizon curves inward, a bowl we're sliding toward the center of. At 23:17, the sea stills completely. No swell, no breath of wind. The dawn hangs in glass. The reflection ship rises to meet us, hulls touching without sound. The crews merge, upright and inverted, smiling with the same teeth. Hands clasp across the membrane. The hexagon scars glow, linking palms into a single circuit. The photograph develops in negative. Light where crew should be, dark where ocean should be. I feel the final exposure click. The stars dim to bioluminescence. The dawn dissolves, not sinking but translating, pixels of titanium becoming water, water becoming memory. I stand on the trench floor that is also the surface sky, barefoot on obsidian warm as skin. The whisper drifts past, empty, flood lamps winking a slow goodbye. The lattice windows open around me, each showing a frame. The Trieste, the Alvin, the Chinese sub, the dawn, all fixed in their perfect moments, eyes black, smiling. The chord returns one last time, not sound but recognition. 3 notes, climbing, resolving into a single sustained tone. My heartbeat, the trench's heartbeat, the same. The lens widens until I am inside it, and it is inside me. There is no more descent, no more ascent. Only the photograph, eternal, serene. I close my eyes. The hexagon scar fades. When I open them, the ocean is quiet, the dawn gone, the stars correct again. I am alone on a sea that remembers everything and reveals nothing. The tide rocks me gently, a cradle of salt and starlight. Somewhere far below, or above, the trench blinks once, satisfied, and sleeps. The signal is silent now, but it hums in the space between heartbeats, a lullaby for anyone who listens past bedtime. I float on my back, palms open, scars invisible. The water holds me the way film holds an image, fixed, developed, forever. The night deepens. The stars will overhead in their proper chaos. I breathe the warm, dense air that is also water, and I wait. Not for rescue, not for dawn, just for the next exposure, whenever the ocean decides the light is right. The sea forgets the dawn the way it forgets every name, by keeping it perfectly. Months later, a fishing trawler out of Honolulu hauls up a titanium sphere, barnacled, flood lamps dark. Inside, a cockpit pristine, coffee mug still warm, a single file on the console titled framemonsterfunnel.jpg. The image is a man floating on his back under starlight, palms open, eyes closed. smiling with the calm of someone who has seen the photograph and become it. The timestamp reads 4.7 seconds ago, always. The crew uploads the file to the cloud. It spreads, phones, screens, dreams, until every mirror shows the same serene face. Every tide pools the same reflection. Children draw hexagons in wet sand. Sailors tattoo scars they can't remember earning. The ocean rocks the world in its slow cradle, pressure easing, sonar fading, currents swaying, unseen. You exhale, and for one suspended moment the sea exhales with you. Then the question drifts past, soft as marine snow. Are you in the frame, or is the frame in you? The stars do not answer. The tide carries you gently, and the abyss, patient, perfect, waits for the light. End of story.